I'm here with Kevin Kwan. We've been asked by a number of parishioners about how geothermal works. So we wanted to kind of take you through the process and explain it. Geothermal we decided on, steering committee looked at when we were doing the master plan, looked at how to heat and cool the building more efficiently and more environmentally friendly. And we found out that geothermal is definitely the way to go. And so I'm standing in front of the vents here and I'm feeling cool air come out. Now what we want to do is explain to you exactly how this works. And what we'll do is we'll take you down to the basement where we'll get a chance to look at the pumps and also the heat exchangers. Now to explain though what's happened on the property, you know that a lot of the work was done outside with wells being dug down there. And so what we've got is we've got 35 different wells and they're 400 feet down. So what's happened is there's a set of pipes that are interconnecting among all those wells. And what's happening is, what we'll show you in the basement, the pumps are bringing all of the water through the system. And as they come through the system, the heat exchangers are working to give us the cool when we need it and the heat when we need it. So we'll go down in the basement and I'll show you where the pumps and the heat exchangers are. We're now in the pump room. And so these pumps, what they're responsible for doing, this is actually stage one of the process for heating and cooling for the building with geothermal. So what's happening is you've got the water that's going through those wells below being pulled up through the building and through the heat exchangers. So these pumps, here we have the return line, and that return line is sending the water back out. And behind us over here is the supply pipes, which means that water is being brought in and then being sent back out into the system. So this is an absolute necessity for the heating and cooling to actually occur. We're now at the second stage of the geothermal process, and these are the heat exchangers that are involved. There are 7 of them, and what these heat exchangers do is they work with the bringing the either hot air or cool air into the building and generating those into the different vents in the church building, the parish hall, and also in Lloyd Hall. So that's why there are 7 units here. Now you'll see that over here we have the supply pipes and we also have the return pipes. Now those are the same ones you saw before in the pump room. So what's happening is the system is bringing water throughout this heat exchanging area, but also back down through the 400 feet of piping down into the wells, the 35 wells. Now, what's happening out there is that that is a constant, that water down there is in a constant temperature zone. So what's happening is now, through setting the thermostat on the heating or cooling system, that determines which way the heat exchangers work. So that bringing that water into the system, either it's generating the heat that we need and that's then distributed throughout the buildings, or it's bringing the cooler air that's then generated into the buildings. It's actually a very efficient system. It's 5 times more effective using the electricity to operate the heat exchangers than it would be using any other type of heating or cooling system. We're back in the church building again, back to the vent. What we wanted to wrap up is kind of explain to you that this system is really environmentally friendly, and the sustainability aspect of this means that for the future, this is going to be the best way for us possibly to handle heating and cooling in this structure. One of the things too that we find very interesting is that the way the old system worked, you had the heating and you had the cooling. They were completely separate from each other. So what we would have to do is bring the HVAC people in to actually change over from one system to the other system. This system allows us to do that whenever we need to do it without having that kind of major requirement of having them come in and change things over. Why that might be helpful is that we might have warm spells in the wintertime, which we would need to address, and we might have cold spells during the summertime that we could now adjust for with our thermostats. And so that can happen almost immediately. Hopefully this has made this whole system a little bit more accessible for you. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask us.